All right, ladies and gentlemen, I believe we are live. If you are here today, go ahead and give me a hello, a hi. Welcome back to the show. Today is a absolutely lovely Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday evening. I'm making sure all of my settings are correct. I'm doing something a little bit different today. I think we are good. Everybody, thank you for tuning in. Folks, today we have quite a show lined up. Now, just a couple hours ago, we got a bombshell report indicating that the Democrats have, guess what, lost 4.5 million voters. We are going to talk about that today. And by the way, a lot of these voters are in swing states. We've been talking for a long time, months now, about how the Democratic Party is facing what really can only be described as an existential crisis. We're correcting all of their racially gerrymandered districts. We have shut down the border. Deportations are underway. 6.5 million illegal aliens have left the country in just the last couple months alone. And now on top of that, it seems as if they've lost another 4.5 million voters. And by the way, these voters are American citizen voters. It's a big deal. So we're going to break that down today. Also, we're going to talk today about what has been going on in Washington, D.C. The streets of D.C. continue to pick up in mayhem. President Trump is trying to clean up the streets. The radical far-left Democrats are melting down. They are in hysterics. They are protesting. They are rioting. They're yelling and shouting, holding up signs, screaming profanities, of which some we are going to hear today. So we're going to break down the D.C. situation. Also going on in D.C., you might have heard President Trump is overhauling the Smithsonian National Museum. That specifically, I don't know how much media attention it has been getting, but what's been going on in the Smithsonian and what President Trump is doing to fix the Smithsonian really is going to blow your mind. We're going to spend some time talking about all of this far left radical anti-American behavior propaganda that the Smithsonian, by the way, the Smithsonian, guys, is one of these far left radical institutions alongside the universities, etc., that have been pushing a lot of this anti-American, communist, as we're going to talk about, anti-white propaganda rhetoric. So, guys, today we really have one hell of a show lined up. Let's go ahead and get into it. Now, we talked about what is going on in Washington, D.C. Before we talk about that, of course, I want to say if you are new, please do me a favor. Please make sure to subscribe. Please make sure to like today's broadcast. Thank you all for tuning in. Welcome to the show. We're live on Rumble and live on YouTube. Matt Morse TV everywhere. Matt Morse TV. Drop a follow, drop a like. Thank you very much. This is what is going on in Washington, D.C. By the way, we do have a little bit of a profanity warning. I apologize. These people get a little bit rowdy. This is J.D. Vance. This is Pete Hegseth. This is Stephen Miller walking through. This might be the Capitol building here. Take a look at this. Take a look.
Fuck you, Pete.
Do we have audio? There it is.
Fuck you, Pete. Fucking Nazi.
In housing! In climate justice!
Fuckers.
Get the
Out of my city!
Free DC, free Palestine. These radical progressive protesters are chanting alongside all of their profanities. F you, Pete. F you, JD Vance. You're a Nazi. Yeah, here, you're a Nazi. F you. Why? Why are they saying this once again? What has happened? President Trump has the audacity to lock down, to actually secure and make safe our nation's beloved capital, Washington, D.C. This city has been a crime-infested, drug-infested, homelessness-infested, violent, gang-infested, gang shootings, gang violence, just hell on earth, radically progressive hellscape. Guys, this city, Washington, D.C., has been operated, because they have a mayor, by the way. They have elections. They get to choose who's running the city. The president really normally doesn't. Now he is. President Trump is stepping in. But since 1975, this city, D.C., has been operated, has been controlled, has been maintained by Democrats, by far-left Democrats. The city has gotten worse and worse. It's deteriorating, falling apart. And so President Trump has gotten involved, and he's saying, listen, okay, we're going to use the National Guard. What does the National Guard do? What's the purpose of the National Guard? Oh, yeah, that's right. To guard the nation. maybe the first of which is our nation's capital, D.C. So now you guys have seen the pictures, the radical and the videos of the guardsmen arresting people. We're going to play some of that. We're going to talk about that today. The far left radical progressives are not happy. In fact, they were yelling at J.D. Vance. Take a look at this, talking about the crime and the violence. Listen to this clip.
Are you going to be releasing evidence of this?
Of what? That DC has a terrible crime problem? You just got to look around. Obviously, DC has a terrible crime problem. The Department of Justice statistics back it up. The FBI statistics back it up. Just talk to a resident of this city, this beautiful, great American city. Don't they deserve... I mean, we talk about human rights. We hear these people outside screaming, free D.C. Let's free D.C. from lawlessness. Let's free Washington, D.C. from one of the highest murder rates in the entire world. Yeah. Let's free Washington, D.C. so that young families can walk around and feel safe and secure. That's what we're trying to free D.C. from. And as Stephen said, it's kind of bizarre that we have a bunch of old, primarily white people who are out there protesting the policies that keep people safe when they've never felt danger in their entire lives.
They've never felt danger in their entire lives. Well, by the way, listen, you guys know what the radical progressives do. A lot of these protesters are paid, as we know. What is the going rate? What is the going rate for being a protester like this? These guys are being paid $200 a day, and they've been caught multiple times. Organizations, NGOs, non-governmental organizations like Act Blue, like Indivisible, etc. A lot of this money is coming from people that operate outside of the country, by the way, like George Soros. So you have foreign money pouring into the country to agitate, to pay protesters in the country to protest and riot against President Trump, trying to agitate the nation. This is foreign money coming in. We got to shut it down. People like Soros. It's not just him. It's other people as well. But you guys know how this works. They've been caught multiple times. We've seen the paperwork and the transcripts. We have the proof and the evidence. And so a lot of these people are being paid $200 a day to chant this type of stuff because the last thing they want to see is a healthy, cohesive, functioning America. It's bigger than DC. It's about the entire country. People like Soros, people like him, they do not want America to be healthy and functioning and cohesive and safe. They are trying to usher this country into becoming a third world, lawless, anarchist hellscape. And they've been doing it for a long time. Okay. And by the way, they've been doing it regrettably pretty well. Like it has been working all over the place, all over the country. A lot of this money was popping up in Los Angeles a couple months ago with the No Kings protests. A lot of the George Floyd, Black Lives Matter stuff, same dynamic, same exact dynamic. Listen, you know how a lot of the Democrat voters are fake? It's voter fraud. It's illegal aliens voting in our elections. Well, guess what? Their protesters are just as fake, if not even faker. By the way, so J.D. Vance here says these people, they're not even from D.C. They don't have any vested interest in D.C. It's true. Not only do they pay protesters and rioters to come in and agitate everything, but also these people, they're being bussed in. It's all part of the program. They're being bussed in from out of state, from out of the city, from God knows where. These people protesting and rioting in D.C. right now, because President Trump has the audacity to clean up the city. These people, they might be from 5 states over. They might be from Canada. Who the hell knows where they are from? They might even be in the country illegally. We were seeing that during these No Kings protests and riots in Los Angeles. A lot of the paid protesters, they were illegal aliens themselves. So this entire situation stinks. J.D. Vance goes on to say, he keeps on talking here. Take a look.
We'll ultimately let the President of the United States determine where we are after 30 days of this emergency order. I think that we're going to make a lot of progress over the next 20 days. I think that we're 9 days into this thing. But if the President of the United States thinks that he has to extend this order to ensure that people have access to public safety, then that's exactly what he'll do. If he thinks he doesn't have to do that, obviously he'll make that determination. But what we're going to do is try to empower these guys to do as good of a job as possible to bring public safety and order back to Washington, D.C. This is the national, cultural, and political capital of the world's greatest nation. And you talk to people, black, brown, white, so many of them are afraid to bring their kids into its public spaces. It's a shame. It's a blight. It actually should make every American ashamed that the world's leading superpower, our national capital, was unsafe for families to walk around at night. That is a disgrace. We don't think that it's acceptable, and thank God we have presidential leadership to change it, and that's exactly what we're trying to do.
This city, DC, like we said, has been getting worse every year since 1975. Crime, violence, gang, homelessness, all of this stuff, illegal alien cartel activity. Guys, we have cartel activity, foreign terrorist operators in our nation's capital. In DC, we have cartel terrorists, we have designated terrorists, we have gangs, we have all type, we have the Crips and the Bloods and all of it. Okay? In Washington freaking DC, this is a big problem. He says people don't even feel safe walking around DC, our nation's capital. Listen, what would the founding fathers do if they could see the current state of Washington DC? What do you think George Washington would do if he could see the degree to which our nation's capital has become downtrodden, and decayed and degenerated? What do you think they would? What do you think those guys would do? Okay, they would make President Trump look like a pushover. That's what they would do. Okay, they would be going medieval on this situation. Do you think they would allow gang shootings? Would George Washington allow gang shootings on the streets of DC? What do you think? Yeah, no. And so he says that, listen, right now, it's important to understand President Trump right now, the way all of this works legally, President Trump has a 30-day window to clean up DC. If he wants to deploy the National Guard in DC longer than 30 days, one of two things have to happen. He has to either get congressional approval, which he probably would be able to do, given we've got a Republican Congress and a Republican Senate. He probably would be able to get that. Beyond that, or he could declare a state of national emergency, and he could just do that if he wants, whenever he wants. So yes, right now, you'll notice JD Vance mentioned we're on day 9 of the 30-day window. Everybody's talking about that. Kind of doesn't matter, because even if Trump determines, it's going to take 37 days. I need another 30 days to clean up DC, to make it permanently clean. He's going to get it. You know, this 30-day thing is not really a big deal for him. Now, this video, who has seen a clip of this video going viral on the internet today? Everybody around the world is talking about this video. Breaking news. I just saw, this is from Amy Cho. Amy Cho, who is she's a Cornell, she works at NBC Washington. Presumably a progressive, I would imagine here. She says, I just saw the DC police and federal agents detain a man on the National Mall. He appeared to try to escape and then was quickly tackled to the ground by several agents while he was screaming in Spanish, "Please, I'm not a criminal. I work here. I just want to be with my family." So I want to play this video, and then I'm going to tell you what really went on behind the scenes here. This is the viral video of the day. Take a look at this. DC police pulls this guy over. They get him out of the car. Everything is going well. And he makes a run for it. He's resisting. They got him down on the ground. So I guess I don't speak Spanish. No habla español. He says, "Please, I'm not a criminal. I work here. I want to be with my family." Once again, can we get a replay of when he actually tried to split? He tried to run away. Take a look at this. Right there. Dude, did you really think you were going to get away? You're going to outrun like 6 federal officers? Bro, you've been eating too many gordita chalupas, buddy. You became a gordita chalupa, hermano. Grande, grande, grande. You're not going to outrun these guys. Okay, anyway, so for about 3 or 4 hours this morning, once this video hit the airwaves, you had all the liberals, you had all the progressives saying, "Oh my God, he's being brutalized by President Trump's evil ICE agent Nazis. They're far-right radical extremists, blah, blah, blah." Well, well, well. Take a look at this. This guy is actually, we got the record corrected here. This man is actually an illegal alien from Mexico who was previously arrested in January of 2024 in Fairfax County for aggravated sexual assault of a child under the age of 13. And so once again, all the far left radical progressives have been caught with their pants down. They once again, they immediately rallied behind this individual here. They said, oh my God, President Trump's ICE agents, they're brutalizing this innocent guy. Oh my gosh, it's terrible. It's just terrible. President Trump is evil. The ICE agents are evil. Well, guess what? He's an illegal immigrant PDF file. He's an illegal alien child sex predator. What are the odds? It seems like why is this always the case? Remember the last guy that looked like this, that all the radical progressives rallied around? They came to his defense. Guess what? His name was Kilmar Abrego Garcia. He was an MS-13 MS-13 illegal alien gang member terrorist from El Salvador who had been human trafficking more illegal aliens, women and children, in and out of this country for years. He was abusing his own wife, even his own illegal alien wife. If I remember properly, correct me if I'm wrong, even his own wife, maybe she wasn't an illegal alien, but anyway, she was saying, oh, he's abusing me, he's beating me. So why is this always the case? It really makes me think we just got to get rid of all of them. Okay, these illegal aliens, we got to get rid of them. No ifs, ands, or buts. They're not all just humble Maryland man like the Democrats tried to say. Now, Kash Patel weighs in on this. Kash Patel right now is our current FBI director. Kash Patel weighs in on the current state of the Washington, D.C. cleanup. He says we've had 550 total arrests in just the last 7 days in Washington, D.C. But first, I want to take a look at these super chats over here on YouTube. Take a look at this, and then we're going to touch base with Rumble. BG, he says 13 years old. That's kind of old for an illegal. Well, no, he was preying. He was a predator on people younger than 13. Listen, once again, you guys, I'm kind of letting on just how maybe far to the right I am. Okay, if you are an illegal alien, if you're anybody, I don't care if you're anybody sexually preying on somebody under the age of 13. Listen, we have a very easy solution for these people. We have a very easy way to deal with this. This is not, as far as I'm concerned, this is not a complex problem. It is actually a very easy problem to solve. We don't need to think about this. We don't need to have a long, what do we do with these people? Oh, he was an illegal alien who was sexually preying on an American child? Man, I just don't know what, oh, I know. We can load him into a Civil War era cannon and blast him into the goddamn Atlantic Ocean. Sorry, pardon my language, but sorry, I'm a little bit impassioned. Okay, so anyway, I don't think this is a complex problem to solve. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, now let's keep on moving on here. This is, sorry, I really try not to swear. I apologize. I do apologize. We had another super chat here. This is from Isaac H. He says, I was a police officer in Oregon before I moved to Alaska. They all say I'm not a criminal even after, as they're holding a stolen item. Yeah, I know. We've seen that before. And by the way, thank you. You know, Oregon is a tough place. Alaska, I'm sure. I hope you're having fun up in Alaska. Thank you very much. I've got family that have served in the police force over here in Oregon. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you. I appreciate that super chat. We also, before we move on here and touch base with Kash Patel, we have a super chat over here in Rumble. Shout out Rumble. Matt Morris TV says, why do you support Trump who did something with a 14-year-old girl? Because he didn't? I would, what are you talking about? Do you have proof of that? I don't think you do. Is it real in your imagination? Maybe it is. I'm not sure why you would be imagining that because there's a complete and total absence of proof of that. Listen, anyway, we're going to move on here. This is Kash Patel. Take a look at this talking about Washington, D.C.
Absolutely, Larry. Look, thanks again to President Trump, his initiative to clean our streets and rid them of violent criminals starting in our nation's capital. Let me speak to just briefly what the FBI did last night. FBI had 41 arrests last night, including 6 gun seizures and 8 drug seizures. That's 8 drug seizures and 6 guns off our streets. Now, the totality and the brilliance of the Trump administration and the Department of Justice combining forces with DEA, ATF, and the U.S. Park Police and our local law enforcement authorities. In just 1 week alone, we have 550 total arrests of violent criminals, including dozens of firearms and 40 drug seizures, to include narcotics, meth, fentanyl, cocaine, and violent crimes such as rape, homicide, assaults, all here in our nation's capital. Larry, I live here now for most of the time, and when you walk around the streets, you'll notice the difference. And that's what President Trump was talking about when he said we're going to clean up our streets. And that's how serious the DOJ is with Attorney General Bondi and Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche in making these arrests with our collective partners. We're using a whole of government approach. All federal authorities are all in with our state partners.
Total crackdown. Now, let me tell you something here. Of course, all of the far-left radical progressives, they are freaking out over President Trump using the National Guard, the DHS, the DOJ to crack down on what's been going on in Washington, D.C. They're all having a meltdown. They are freaking out. Me, personally, I'm sure a lot of you guys, I'm on the other end of the spectrum. I'm saying, man, I hope what Trump is doing in D.C. is only the beginning. I hope what he's doing in D.C. is only the practice run. They're figuring out the formula, how to do it, what's the best way to do it, how do we do this and that. And then I hope they take the formula that they develop in Washington, D.C. right now, and they bring it to every country in the nation. We start with Chicago, Atlanta, Baltimore, Memphis, all of these, Seattle, Portland, all of these, Minneapolis, all of these cities in the country that are problematic, where you have all of this gang violence and drug addiction and homelessness and illegal aliens, etc., sanctuary cities, I'm thinking, listen, I hope this is just the beginning. Listen, what is the point of having a National Guard if they're not defending the nation? Our nation has been invaded and overrun by tens of millions of illegal aliens, illegal alien invaders, a lot of which are actually members of foreign cartel terrorist gang organizations. And if they're not foreigners, they're members of street gangs, hood gangs, like the Bloods or the Crips or the whatever, the Latin Kings, etc. And they're causing just as much mayhem, if not more. Listen, the National Guard, we have them for a reason. Guard the nation. President Trump, send the order. I am sick of having our cities be destroyed and overrun by either foreign gang member terrorists or domestic gang member terrorists. We got to put an end to this. We are an occupied country. We have to end the occupation. Let's go. Illegal aliens out. Gang member terrorists, shut them away. Get them out of the country or put them in the prison. Okay? That's how I feel. So I hope Washington, D.C. right now, they're just building a template. This is just the beginning. That's what I hope. I don't know if that's the case, but that's what I'm thinking. Now, and by the way, we're talking about building a template in D.C. We know it works. Listen, Trump has been doing this for 9 days now, technically. This is how it was on day 7, 2 days ago. We have some stats, okay? President Trump's crackdown, it is working. It is effective. Take a look. Robbery in D.C. down 46%. ADW down 6%. I'm not actually sure what that means. Maybe somebody in the live chat can help me know. If we have any police officers, hey, what's ADW? Carjacking. I know about that. 83% down. 83% reduction in carjacking. That's a big deal. Car theft, 21% down. Violent crime, that's a big deal. How many lives are being saved? A 22% reduction in violent crime, and this is only in 7 days. Give it 14 days. Give it 21 days. Give it 28, whatever. This is the beginning. That's the point here. Property crime is down 6%. All crimes, total, okay, as an aggregate, down 8%. Okay, somebody chimes in. ADW, by the way, is assault with a deadly weapon. Thank you very much. Thank you, my law enforcement officer professionals in the live chat. Thank you. So, assault with a deadly weapon down 6%. Hello, we're talking, these are lives being saved, right? Very clearly, very obviously. Thank you for the help there. The template, we're building out the template. This works. What we're doing works. What President Trump is doing, it works. Now, folks, speaking about Washington, D.C., like I said, there's something else I want to talk about with you guys today. President Trump has also, while he's focused on cleaning up the streets of D.C., he's also taken his gaze and he is focused in on the Smithsonian National Museum. Now, for those of you that have never been to Washington, D.C., the Smithsonian National Museum, they actually have multiple museums, multiple locations across the city that they operate right down the road from the nation's capital, in between the Capitol and the White House, in fact, on the National Forum. And so, or the National Mall, I think is what it's called. And so anyway, President Trump is cracking down on the Smithsonian. And I'm sure a lot of you guys are saying, the Smithsonian? Why are we talking about the Smithsonian? What's the big deal? What possibly could have been going on at the Smithsonian? Well, we're going to break it down. Okay, so first off, This is one thing. The White House Rapid Response page has posted this. Here is the Intersex Inclusive Progress Pride flag, whatever that means. This is the official White House page, by the way. Whatever the hell that means, being flown atop all of the Smithsonian buildings. This is what President Trump means when he says the Smithsonian has been out of control. So our Smithsonian museums, all of them, there's multiple of them, they've had this, what is it called? The Intersex Inclusive Progress Pride flag. I'm with them. What the hell does that even mean? I don't know. There it is. Anyway, they're ripping it down. They're getting them out of here. Okay, now I want to show you something here. I had to double check this. I didn't even believe it. I had to double check this is true what I'm about to share with you. And if you don't believe me, once again, this is the official White House Rapid Response government page. This is a real infographic produced by the Smithsonian in 2020 to educate people on, quote, the ways white people and their traditions, attitudes, and ways of life have been normalized. This is what President Trump means when he says the Smithsonian has been long out of control. So I want to read through this, guys. This is quite literally a Smithsonian, a radically progressive Smithsonian produced piece of anti-white racist propaganda that we are going to read through today. If you're wondering, really, was the Smithsonian really that bad? Yes, pay attention. This is what they are teaching in our national museums. This is what they're teaching in our universities. We're going to read through some of this. Talking about race, aspects and assumptions of whiteness and white culture in the United States. White dominant culture or whiteness refers to the ways white people and their traditions, attitudes, and ways of life have been normalized over time and are now considered standard practices in the United States. And since white people still hold most of the institutional power in America, we have all internalized some aspects of white culture, including people of color. Now, these are racist characteristics of white culture that we're going to read through now, according at least to the radical progressives working at the Smithsonian circa 2020. Rugged individualism. The individual is the primary unit. Self-reliance, independence, and autonomy, highly valued plus rewarded in white culture. Individuals assumed to be in control of their environment. You get what you deserve. So everything here about rugged individualism, these are bad, racist, white culture tropes. White culture, it's bad. So they're saying taking accountability, being personally accountable, being an individual, these are bad things that have come out as a consequence of this bad white culture. Okay, wow. What about the family structure, the nuclear family? Father, mother, 2.3 children on average. Husband is the breadwinner and the head of the household. The wife is the homemaker and subordinate to the husband. The children should have their own rooms and be independent. These are bad things that the evil white person invented. Evil white culture invented these things. Boo. According to the Smithsonian. Emphasis on the scientific method. Objective, rational, linear thinking. Cause and effect relationships. Quantitative emphasis. So if you care about proof or evidence or quantitative values, numbers, math, objective, rational thinking, you're a racist white person, or at a minimum, you are a product of the evil white culture. This is, once again, this is coming out of our national museum, the freaking Smithsonian. You want to talk about all of this critical race theory, anti-white baloney, you're looking at it right now coming out of the Smithsonian. If you're wondering why the country has become so insane over the last decade or two or three, guys, it's not only the Smithsonian where they're talking about this stuff. This is being taught to American students in our universities, in our high schools, in our middle schools, in our elementary schools. Okay, seriously. This is the type of stuff we're talking about. History. Based on Northern European immigrants' experience in the United States. Heavy focus on the British Empire. The primacy of Western, Greek, and Roman and Judeo-Christian tradition. We ought not focus on any of those things. The Protestant work ethic. Hard work is the key to success. Work before play. If you didn't meet your goals, you didn't work hard enough. So once again, what is the narrative here? If you work hard, if you think you should work hard before you play or relax or have fun, if you think that working hard is a proper way to achieve your goals, you are perpetuating the evil, racist white culture. Are you getting it yet? Are we piecing this together? Religion, Christianity is the norm. Anything other than Judeo-Christian tradition is foreign. No tolerance for deviation from single God concept. Listen, as much as they can be mad about it, this country was built by Protestants. That's just like the objective fact. This country is a Protestant nation. Not that we need to hate other people. That's just objective American history. Like, that is just inarguable. Status, power, and authority. Wealth equals worth. Your job is who you are. Respect authority. Heavy value on ownership of goods, space, and property. So pretty much if you are not a communist, then also you've taken the bait. The evil racist bait of the evil white racist culture. Future orientation. Plan for the future. Delayed gratification. Progress is always best. Tomorrow will be better. If you are someone that plans for the future, that saves money, if you have a savings account, if you think that in your life you should be trying to strive for positive goals, if you have an optimistic outlook on the betterment of your life, tomorrow is going to be better than today. Guess what? Surprise, you're perpetuating the evil, racist white culture. And guys, listen, the reason I'm showing you this again, this is what President Trump is talking about. This is why Trump is cracking down on the Smithsonian. And this is why it's been so important that we are shutting down critical race theory, DEI, ESG, all of this stuff in the workplace in this country, but also in the universities and in the public schools in this country, because all of this baloney, racist, just idiotic, just fundamentally stupid propaganda is what has been taking up space in our national museums, but also it's been being taught to our children in the public school system and also to our young adults in the university system. This is what's been going on. You want to know another aspect of the evil racist white culture is following rigid time schedules, being on time, and viewing time as a commodity. If you own a clock or own a watch, if you have an alarm clock, then guess what? You've been perpetuating evil, racist white culture. Aesthetics, based on European culture. Steak and potatoes, bland is best. This is just another level of racism. This idea that white people only ever eat bland food. White people, they don't know how to season their food. Women's beauty based on blonde and thin, the Barbie look. Man's attractiveness is based on economic status, power, and intellect. You know, I don't think that these standards, you know, are really invented by Americans. I think, listen, if you go over to China and you ask them what makes a man attractive, they're probably also going to say status, power, and intellect. If you go to Africa, if you go to some Swahili tribe in the middle of the Serengeti, you know, you're going to notice who's the leader of the tribe. He's the man with the most power, status, and intellect. That's kind of just like a common denominator. Seems to be a common denominator. Holidays in America are based on Christian religions, based on white history and male leaders. Justice based on English common law. Protect property and entitlements. Intent counts. Are you guys understanding how just fundamental? Do we need to keep going through this? How fundamentally stupid is this? What is one terrible aspect of the evil, racist white culture? Is that we protect property rights. Is that we have English common law. For those of you that don't know what English common law is, by the way, English common law, invented by the English, that we kind of brought, our founding fathers brought over here with them to the US, and then they integrated that into the way our country works with our Constitution. English common law is effectively you are innocent until proven guilty, and in order to prove your guilt or prove your innocence, you're going to be put up in front of a jury of your peers, and then a judge will preside over the case. Judge, jury, innocence until proven guilty. These are kind of the core tenets of English common law, and so they're saying that if you perpetuate English common law, If you care about property rights, if you think intent matters in regards to guilt or innocence, if you did something bad, then this is part of this evil, racist, American culture that we have. So it's like, when we're once again, the reason I'm sharing this is because this is what they were showing. This is what they were pushing and peddling inside of our national museum, the Smithsonian. And once again, also not only there, also in our university systems and our public school education systems. If you're wondering, man, why are people so insane these days? Why it seems like the entire country has gone pants on head, meaning insane, totally backwards. It's because there's been a deliberate and intentional endeavor, an agenda, propaganda to subvert and undermine every single core tenet of Americanism, of what it means to be an American, American ideology, American philosophy. Flip it upside down, it's over. And so, hey, this is where we are. Now, there's something else I wanted to share with you guys. This really is the biggest story of the day, and that's why I have saved it for last. I want to talk about this with you folks. In fact, this is the title of today's broadcast. The Democrats, we have a new study that came out just hours ago. Democrats losing voter registration race in all 30 states that currently track party affiliation. 4.5 million voter swing away from the Democrats towards the Republican GOP. And by the way, it could be all 50 states that this is happening, but I guess only 30 out of the 50 states even keep track of this. 30 out of 30. The Democrats are losing voters. 4.5 million voters nationwide. Okay. Now, by the way, 4.5 million, that's a lot of voters nationwide because off the top of my head, in the 2024 election, we had maybe 160 million Americans vote, something like that, ballpark. Okay, so 4.5, listen, that's a big number. That's enough to influence the outcome of a swing state. That could change the outcome of a state. That's a big deal. Let's read through this. And by the way, real quick, why is this happening? It's because Americans across the country are sick of this stuff. Everything that we just read through, all of this anti-American, anti-white, critical race theory, pardon my language, bullshit. People are sick of it. And who has been responsible for peddling this type of anti-American poison and ideological brain rot? Who has been pushing this? The Democrats, the far left radical progressives. Okay. And so that's why people are saying, listen, I've had enough of the Democrats. I've had enough of the progressives. I'm switching my party affiliation. I'm now a Republican. I'm voting now for the red team. Okay. Let's read through this. Let's figure out what exactly has gone on here. The Democrat Party is currently hemorrhaging support with no end in sight, according to a shocking analysis of new voter registrations. Fueled by President Trump's gains among men, younger voters, and Latinos in 2024, more new voters nationwide chose to be Republicans than Democrats for the first time since 2018, according to a report from the New York Times, which relies on voter registration data compiled by L2, which is a nonpartisan voter data firm. Let's keep reading. Perhaps more troubling for the Democrats, the data suggests Democrat Party activists can no longer rely on the party's tried and true methods to reverse the trend, leaving panicked party leaders and pundits unsure how to resurrect the party's electoral prospects. Well, listen, I got to tell you folks something here. For the longest time, what has been the Democrats' key method to get, we're talking white people right now. All of this was targeted about white people and white culture. What has been the Democrats' plan for decades to get white people to vote for them, to vote for the Democrat Party? Well, it's been to emotionally manipulate and gaslight white people. They say, listen, if you don't vote for us, the Democrats, you're a racist, you're a Nazi, you're a this, you're a bigot, you're a transphobe, you're a homophobe, you're a this, you're a that. And you know what? The country has gotten so bad. The country has become so downtrodden and decayed and frankly degenerate that now this stuff we've seen enough of this stuff and the country is just imploding. It's gotten worse year after year. I think white people at this point are just saying, you know what, call me, who cares? Call me whatever you want. You want to call me a racist? You want to call me a Nazi or this or that? Whatever. I'm sick of my country. I'm sick of my homeland being destroyed. I'm sick of my country just being deteriorated and destroyed. I'm sick of being replaced in my own country by a never-ending flood of third world immigrants that don't even share our culture. They don't even speak our language. I'm sick of our country dying. So call me whatever you want. It's time to fix the country. I'm done getting emotionally blacklisted or blackmailed. I'm done being gaslit. Call me whatever mean name you want. I'm not going to cry any more tears about this. I'm taking the country back. And so I think there has been this big awakening, if you can call it that. People do not care. Let's keep on reading here. Perhaps more. Okay, so we read that. The numbers here are staggering. Of the 30 states that track voter registration by political party, Democrats lost ground to Republicans in every single one between the 2020 election and the 2024 election, and often by a lot. The report reads that 4-year swing towards the Republicans adds up to 4.5 million voters, a deep political hole that could take years for the Democrats to climb out of. No states, red, purple, or blue, are immune to this trend. Every single one of them is moving red. Every single one of them. More voters are choosing to be Republicans. All told, Democrats lost about 2.1 million registered voters between the 2020 and the 2024 elections in the 30 states combined, along with Washington, D.C., that allow people to register with a political party. The report adds, in the remaining 20 states, voters do not register with a specific political party, so we don't know exactly what that shift is. Republicans have gained 2.4 million in this data set. Many blue states, like California, register voters by party, while many red states, including Texas, do not. So the number of nationwide registered voters by party does not tell the full story. Because once again, we are missing 20 states that don't even track the data, but in all the states that do, catastrophic doomsday for the progressive left. Goes on to say, but in the 30 states with partisan voter registration, where we know Democrats' 11-point edge over Republicans on Election Day 2020 plummeted to just over 6 points in 2024, an alarming trend for the Democrats. The Democrat 11-point edge over Republicans on Election Day in 2020. And even then, listen, we know this was fraudulent. Guys, the year is 2025. Do we seriously still have people in this country pretending that Joe Biden actually won that election? Yeah, I believe that Joe Biden got 77 million votes. I believe that more people in the history of this country voted for Joe Biden than anybody else. Like, really? Seriously? It's hard to fathom that there are people that are that stupid that actually do believe that. Okay, let's keep on reading here. I don't want to say the death cycle of the Democratic Party, but there seems to be no end to this. Michael Prusser said, director of data science for Decision Desk H2, told The Times. There is no silver lining here or cavalry coming across the hill. This is month after month, year after year. Folks, the Democratic Party is dying. It is bleeding out. What are they going to have to do? How do they fix this? You know, they are going to have a come to Jesus moment. They're going to have some introspection, some reflection here and say, what we are doing is not working. They're going to have somebody come up out of nowhere and rebuild this party from the ground up. And by the way, we know it can be done in theory because that's what President Trump did to the Republican Party in 2015 and 2016. You remember, listen, hey, the Republican Party in 2015, before President Trump kind of showed up on the scene and fundamentally changed everything, the Republican Party 2015, very different than the Republican Party now after President Trump entered the scene. So we know if you have the right type of person, can come out of nowhere, can shake things up, can tear down the old establishment and can rebuild it anew. We know that can happen because Trump did that a decade ago for the Republican Party. Do the Democrats have somebody like that? Do they have an ace in the hole? Do they have somebody like that? Kamala Harris? No. I've seen a lot of people talking about Gavin Newsom over the last couple of days. Is Gavin Newsom going to be the agent of change for the Democrats? Is Gavin Newsom going to shake things up and tear the Democrat Party apart and then rebuild it and make something anew? Yeah, no, I don't exactly think so. I don't think so. More trends paint a similarly dire picture for the Democrats. By 2024, the Republican Party's share of new registered voters nationwide, quote, had overtaken Democrats. More people are signing up to be Republicans. Rising by 9 points compared to 2018, the report details, while Democrats fell by almost 8%. The shift from 2020 to 2024 was prevalent in the 4 swing states with partisan data available as well. So this is happening in the 4 swing states that we have data for. North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Arizona, Nevada. That also very not good if you are a member of the progressive left. The country has wholeheartedly rejected this ideology. I'm going to go back to this image. The country wholeheartedly has rejected this ideology that is on the screen. If you're an American, you need to hate yourself. If you're a man, if you're an American man, you need to hate yourself even more. If you're a white American man, well, you're pretty much akin to Satan. You might as well be a human incarnation of Satan himself. If you're a white American man, listen, we're done with that. Okay. That was so 2021. That was so 2022. We are done with that. Moving forward, we do not care. We're moving on because you guys have seen that. You know what they were trying to push. Okay, let's go. Due to the makeup of President Trump's new Republican Party coalition achieved through gains across multiple demographics, Democrats are unable to go back to the well of recruitment of racial minorities to reverse their downward trajectory. As you know, 54% of Latin American men, Hispanic men, in 2024 voted for Trump. 54%. Also 54% of women in this, well, white women in this country voted for Trump. This article goes on to say, for years, the left has relied on a sprawling network of nonprofits which solicit donations from people whose identity they need not disclose to register Black, Latino, and younger voters. Though the groups are technically nonpartisan, the underlying assumption has been that most new voters registered would vote for Democrats. Now, here's the thing. A lot of these nonprofits in the sprawling network here, we now know, okay, the logs have been released. USAID, they're taking money from places like USAID and various foreign NGOs that are being financed by individuals like George Soros, okay? Also, as we've seen all over the country, they're getting illegals registered to, they're gonna have illegal aliens vote. And also, they've been using dead people's names or people that aren't, they're old people that don't vote. They're using those people to get them involved. Listen, this entire situation is just sinister, and Trump is ripping apart their entire illegal, fraudulent voting apparatus. And thank God for that. Now, I see a big super chat over here in Rumble. I want to take a look at this real quick. This is from Rumble Quacker. Thank you very much. He says, thank you for the channel, Matt, even though you might cuss and don't have a puppy cam. I really do. Listen, I'm a millennial. I'm a young millennial. It's one of my generation's problems. That is cussing and swearing, that is. So I really try to not do it. I'm trying to improve myself. I'm not a perfect person. I try not to swear. So if I do, I apologize. I'm sorry. Mr. Rumble Quacker, thank you very much. Thank you for tuning into the show. Thank you very much. Thank you. Mr. Trump upended that calculation with the inroads he made with working class non-white voters. A lot of non-whites voted for Trump recently. While blind registration of young people and minorities assumed to lean Democrat through nonprofits is relatively easy and inexpensive, identifying and targeting potential Democrat voters is incredibly more difficult and exponentially more expensive. What we are seeing right now is that Trump is pretty much deporting all of the Democrats' voters. So far, we have had 1.6 million illegal aliens leave the country. 1.6 million. We know this. This is U.S. Department of Labor data. The Department of Homeland Security has confirmed these numbers. In the last couple months, 1.6 million illegal aliens. And this is important because let me break down for you all the Democrats' plan. And this is just clear as day. Everybody with a functioning brain knows this is the case. A couple years ago, maybe a decade or two, the Democrats realized, it seems like actual, authentic, real American citizens are not in favor of our radically progressive policies. Nobody wants to vote for our radically progressive policies. Well, we have two options. We could either moderate ourselves and become less radically progressive in order to try to win back actual, authentic American voters, or we could open up the border and start importing voters that will be financially beholden to us to replace actual, authentic American voters. And so that's what they did. They intentionally and deliberately opened up the border. They started importing millions and millions and millions of illegal aliens to vote for them. And the reason why they will and they do and they have voted for the Democrats is because the Democrats are the ones giving them free taxpayer-funded benefits like Medicaid and Social Security and food assistance and housing assistance. And so the illegal aliens are going to vote in their best interest, which is for the Democrats, the progressives, because they're getting free stuff from the progressives. Except, pause, it's not free. Who's paying for it? Guess what? You are. Guess what? I am. Hardworking, tax-paying American citizens. We are the ones. So the Democrats' plan was to have hardworking, tax-paying Americans pay for our own replacements. They wanted to replace us with a bunch of third world illegal aliens and then have us pay for the entire process. That was their plan. Screw that. That is why we voted for Trump. We are shutting it down. We're getting rid of these people. And so now, and then of course, on top of that, the Democrats were racially gerrymandering all of these voting districts. They're cramming as many, illegal aliens and minorities into the same voting districts as humanly possible. They're drawing weird, obscure district boundaries to try to, sort of deceptively farm out as many seats in the House of Representatives as they possibly can. They love their weird, shady tricks, and they've been doing this for a long time. And so finally, we are fighting back against this stuff. Donors to left-leaning nonprofits pursuing blanket registration of young and racial minorities get significant tax breaks, while those donors giving money to political action committees and partisan political groups are not eligible for such write-offs. Imagine that. Besides the additional fundraising hurdles faced by political groups compared with nonprofits, donors to those groups see less return on their investment. The surgical work of searching, identifying, contacting, registering, and mobilizing voters by partisan political groups is wildly expensive, with the amount of money to successfully secure one Democrat vote running into the hundreds of dollars. Can we just think about, guys, this is the Democrat, the radical progressive mindset. They have gamified this to such a degree they're thinking, how much money is it going to cost us to buy one vote? They know they have lost the war of ideas. They have lost the ideological war. They openly acknowledge they cannot get Americans to vote for them. And so now the game is, well, we just need to import new voters from the third world. And also we need to buy off American voters. We need to pay them to vote for us effectively by giving them all types of benefits and handouts and subsidies. However, dumping money into the existing framework is no longer a solution for the Democrats, but no easy or difficult fix is apparent. Compounding the party's problems is the lack of a leader or of a message. And it's true. No amount of money is going to put the Democrats back in power because Americans have had enough of their agenda. And beyond that, it's true. We've been talking about this for a long time. The Democrats, the radical progressives, they do not have a leader or a message. In fact, I don't know if you guys have noticed or if you've been paying attention, really ever since they lost the election in 2024, Trump is back in the White House now. The Democrats are having what can only be described as an internal party-wide civil war. They don't know which way to go. Should they moderate themselves? In fact, they don't even know why they lost the 2024 election. Is it because they were too progressive or not progressive enough? Do they need to go further to the left or a little bit closer to the center to try to appeal towards moderate centrist Americans? So they don't know which way. Should we have a Newsom? Should we have an AOC? Should we try to run President AOC and Vice President Jasmine Crockett? I don't know. Maybe Americans want to see President Ilhan Omar. Maybe Americans want President Gavin Newsom. Maybe the Americans want a rerun of, Kamala Harris. They have no idea which way they need to go. They're clueless. They're like a bunch of chickens running around with their heads cut off. And so it's gonna be. Listen, I'll tell you what. We're about to wrap up the show here because we have pretty much covered all of our news for the day. But I'll tell you what, guys, the 2028 presidential election is going to be insane. Okay. And specifically, it is going to be insane on the left side of the aisle. I'm going to be sitting here with a bag of popcorn, eating the popcorn every single day. What the hell are they doing? We're going to have presidential debates. Well, we're going to have Democrat primary debates. We're going to have 8 different Democrats up on the stage. It's going to be AOC debating Gavin Newsom, debating Kamala Harris, debating, Ilhan Omar, debating Pete Buttigieg. It's going to be just insanity. And I'll tell you what, it's going to be entertaining. It really will be. Now, folks, I want to say thank you all very much for tuning in today. Thank you all sincerely very much for tuning into the Rumble show, Matt Morse TV on Rumble. We are Matt Morse TV on YouTube. I want to say thank you all very much. We're Matt Morse TV on X. Folks, we are here pretty much every single day of the week. There's me, there's my daughter, and my beautiful wife. Now we have a son, too, in the picture. Everybody, thank you very much. I'm going to go ahead and link the X link. Here's my X page. Make sure to follow that if you would be so kind. I appreciate it. You guys we have one hell of a community. We're here every day, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Western. Thank you very much. We're making progress here. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. There is one more final super chat on the way out here. I see this here. It's from Isaac. He says, their message doesn't work because it's simply communism and anti-West. It worked when they owned all the media. We can talk now. The enemy of them, of what they're trying to do is free speech. The enemy of them is us sharing our ideas and pushing back in a public forum. Listen, the last thing the Democrats, the far left radical progressives, the last thing they want is us every day here breaking down the news, making sense of what's going on. It's us sharing our voice, sharing our opinion, and coming together and breaking it all down. So once again, thank you all very much. Like I said, we're making progress. We're taking the country back. Thank you. And I'll see you folks tomorrow. Everybody have a great evening. Have a great tomorrow morning. And I'll see you all tomorrow. Take care, everybody. And God bless everybody here. Thank you very, very much.